Okay, so this is the embarrassing story, and this is a real thing that actually happened. So I'll start out with the little bit funnier, less embarrassing thing, and then I'll tell you the embarrassing decider story. So this week I've been processing decider issues. It's been said that everybody has decider issues, observers and deciders both. And I always thought, no, but I don't. I really don't. I don't have decider issues. This week I had two decider dreams. I started to become conscious of my decider issues and what they actually look like. On the inside, I'm neurotic as hell, just like a lot of people are. So the decider issues look a little bit different. I respond a different way. And I also double decide immediately when I have any sort of decider discomfort, and I roll through it pretty easily. And it also doesn't stick. Like if you asked me, okay, so tell me about your decider issues. A lot of times I literally cannot remember because it just doesn't stick. If there was ever a discomfort, I roll through it easily and I forget it easily. But what I remember are the observer issues, like some weird frustration about stuff and things. That's what I can remember, what I can recall. I'm at a point with objective personality where I'm starting to see my functions in real time, like all of the time, which is good. I think, the awareness is good because when you see it all the time in real time, then you can decide in that moment to react differently, or you can laugh it off like, oh, look, there's another observer freak out. Just the awareness itself gives you a lot more agency in choosing how you want to respond to things. So anyway, it's kind of embarrassing. I mean, decider issues are by their nature embarrassing. It's like vulnerable stuff. It's like weird feelings on the inside about your identity and how you perceive yourself and how the tribe perceives you. So I'll start out with the little bit funnier, less embarrassing thing, and then I'll tell you the embarrassing decider story. So I'm weird about emojis, and I think a lot of people are. If I create a post and people are commenting, if I give one person a heart because I like what they said, then I feel like I need to give everybody a heart. It gets more complicated because if I come to a person who I know to be a demon feeler, like a highly rational person that has feeling at the bottom, then I feel weird giving them a heart because maybe they don't want me to share the vibe with them. They might perceive it as like, whoa, too much, gross, don't share the vibe with me. And that's like a real neurotic fear that I have in my mind, which, it's kind of funny, but it's a real thing and it's a decider issue. And don't even get me started on the care emoji. That one I don't know what to do with because it's literally a hug and I'm afraid that the person will think that I'm trying to touch them inappropriately, which is pretty ridiculous because people give me hearts and care emojis all the time and I like it. I don't think that they're creepy. I think it's sweet. But I feel somehow like I'm not allowed to show my appreciation or admiration of someone, or they're going to think that I'm creepy if I send them a hug emoji because they're going to think I'm trying to touch them, which is like, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty neurotic. So another reason I've thought that I don't have decider issues is because I'm rarely offended by people. It's really difficult to truly offend me. And I rarely feel the need to defend myself in a situation if someone makes an unfavorable comment about me. So it kind of goes two different ways. If someone has a criticism of me, and I'm thinking mostly online because that's where I interact with people for the most part. In terms of my real life in-person interactions, I would say there's just no decider issues. It just doesn't come up, but more like online. You make a video or you post a comment and someone criticizes it or, disagrees with you, or they say something that indicates that they just don't like you at all, whatever. So if someone has a criticism of me, it'll kind of go two different ways. So the first way is maybe they're completely misunderstanding me, misinterpreting me, and they have a criticism of me that's way off base and they're just incorrect. So there's no reason for me to feel offended or get defensive about it because they just misunderstood my meaning or my intention and they're way off base, or they're in a bad mood. They just feel like being mean to someone. There's no reason for me to defend against that because my identity is solid. So their criticism of me doesn't really shake that in any meaningful way. So I can pretty neutrally at that point just clarify, no, hey, actually, actually what I meant was XYZ. And then just let it go. I might change their mind, I might not, it doesn't really matter. It's just like the opinion of some stranger on the internet. The other way that it can go is that their criticism could be accurate. In that case, if they show me something that I'm not seeing or I haven't previously noticed within myself, then that can sting a little bit momentarily. But again, I will not become defensive. I would take their criticism and turn that judgment in on myself and think like, oh yeah, he's right. Yeah, I do that. And that isn't good. And that isn't the best approach. And I should look at myself and change my behavior and update. Almost always when a decider issue comes up, I'm turning the judgment in on myself and beating myself up about it. I'm not ever beating up the other person. Like, that guy's wrong, he's an asshole, he shouldn't have said that, he's being mean, whatever. I don't get worked up about it. If it's a case where that guy's an asshole and he's being mean, then it's just like, that guy's an asshole, he's being mean. Like, people do that, you know? There's 9 billion people in the world, and sometimes they're mean, and sometimes they're just having a bad day, and no big deal. It doesn't affect my identity in any way, and so that's why it doesn't upset me. Or if it upsets me momentarily, I'm also just like one beat behind that, double deciding and working through it. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If there's somebody that I really admire and for some reason I want their approval, like it could be completely random. Like sometimes I don't know why. Like, why do I admire that dude so much? And why do I want his approval? Why does it matter to me that that guy likes me? And it just does sometimes. You know, when you have like a lot of respect and admiration for someone, then you want to be careful what you say and how you come off because you kind of want their approval for some reason. There's 9 billion people in the world, or maybe by now, I don't know, could be 12 billion. It's you know, accelerating pretty quickly. It's not important to me that all of those 9 billion people like me or approve of me. And I think it's really normal that they don't, that some people like me and some people don't like me. I feel really calm and accepting of that, and like that's normal. That's just reality. That's how it is. But occasionally, like, there's a few people that I'm like, oh man, I want that guy to see me. I want him to get me. I want him to understand me. I want him to think that I'm a good person, or, you know, just generally wanting the approval of certain people for whatever reason. Okay, so this is the embarrassing story, and this is a real thing that actually happened that I'm processing and just like feel really like weird about, just like insecure and neurotic, and I'm sort of surprised by my own neuroticism. So the other day I left a comment on a video and it was really favorable. It was just like good content, good info, and also I appreciate you and I think you're really cool, something like that. And then maybe like a day or two later, I had a dream about that person, that we were in the same room in real life when we've actually never been in the same room. And I was explaining to him that sometimes in his videos, when people compliment him, he has these micro expressions where he's like momentarily, like physically dodging the compliment. Like when somebody compliments him, it looks like somebody is throwing a baseball at his face and he sort of like moves back, and it's just this general vibe of like, don't compliment me. Don't do that. So I was explaining to him that I had noticed that in his videos. And I was explaining to him that I felt like I wanted to go online and change my comment because maybe it was too effusive. It was just too much praise. Maybe that effusiveness would make him uncomfortable. Maybe he didn't want that. You know, he has these micro expressions that shows he doesn't want that, and I want his approval and I want him to like me, so maybe I shouldn't go overboard with the compliments. So I told him that, and I was going to leave the room and go change the comment, and he said, okay, but you don't need to do that because we just talked about this. Like, you just cleared the air with me, so you don't actually need to go online and change the comments. It's not necessary. But I was like, no, I need to change it. And so I, you know, in the dream, left the room and went to look at my laptop. Okay, so here's where it gets really embarrassing. So I woke up after that dream, and I actually went to the desk and opened my laptop and looked up the comment and read it and considered changing it. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I have my laptop open and it's bright, which is irrational in itself. You don't open your laptop and look at it at 3 o'clock in the morning because the light is so bright that it will wake you up, and it's not good sleep hygiene to do that. As I'm doing this with this blinding light in my eyes, reading this comment and considering changing it, I just thought, what? am I doing? This is crazy. This is so neurotic. It was just a dream. And you know how in the middle of the night, things can seem kind of exaggerated. Things seem scarier in the middle of the night. And so I was thinking, this is just one of those weird middle of the night things. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to feel completely different about this and I'm going to laugh about it because this is crazy. I'm being neurotic and irrational right now. And so I didn't change the comment. I closed the laptop and I went back to bed. But then the next day, I changed the comment. And it's stupid. I was saying something nice to somebody. So why do I feel like I'm not allowed to show admiration for other people? And this isn't the only time this has come up. Like, this happens. There's something in me that feels not allowed. Or like if I'm too effusive in my praise of someone, like I can see how that could be obnoxious if you're just always, fawning over someone and complimenting them. Like, yeah, that would be like obnoxious and like potentially, creepy. But it's also really normal to say nice things to people and tell people that you appreciate them. And people tell me that they appreciate me. Like, hey, I liked how you described that. I appreciate your perspective, whatever. Or I think you're really cool. People say that stuff to me and it doesn't make me feel creepy and I don't feel like it's too much. So why would I think that I'm not allowed to do that? And I really don't know, but I have noticed this pattern within myself. It's like if I compliment someone online, they might think, ooh, gross. I don't want your compliments. Like, I don't care what you think about me. Or they might think that it's just too much. Like that I don't know, that like I shouldn't be sharing the vibe with them. I don't know. I don't completely understand it. And I sort of wonder if it's kind of like a friends third thing, I guess, because I'm a 3, so friends third, sort of like other people do friendship and they hang out and they share the vibe and they're allowed to do that, but I'm not allowed to do that. That's maybe part of it. It reminds me of the way that I was in high school. Is it's so funny. I was so locked in my double masculine sleep world. It's like I had this force field around me that people were reluctant to disturb. They felt like they were not allowed to disturb my sleep force field because I was so locked in my inner world. And what I learned after high school, now being in touch with all these people online, a few people have said to me, you were so mysterious and so intriguing, and I really wanted to get to know you, but you were very unapproachable. So I kind of missed out. I was like on the sidelines, on the outside, looking at all these cool people and thinking like, oh wow, Katie is so cool. She is just I really would love to get to know her better. She is such a cool girl. Or I would be really tuned in with someone's not feeling well this week. Oh, Jack looks like he doesn't feel very good this week. Like, I hope he's okay. But I was not allowed to go up to Jack and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? And I wasn't allowed to go up to Katie and say, hey, that thing that you did was super cool and I really appreciate you and you're beautiful. I just am not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to share that with people. And I don't know why. So anyway, that's a real thing that happened. And looking at it, I think it's highly neurotic and highly insecure and, a little embarrassing that happened. But yeah, I guess, it's true. Everybody has decider issues. That's my story. So talk to you later.